Hello, welcome back to the Talon Sports Podcast. So today we're going to talk about the MLB with the Red Sox. We're talking about the Boston Bruins and the NHL. We're going to talk about Jalen Brown's injury and the NBA playoffs, and we're going to have do some NFL talk because the Week One schedule is now out. So, Fishman, do you want to talk
All
about the
right.
MLB?
So we received another no-hitter. Last week it was John Means. Sort of last week, 5 days ago, it was Wade Miley. Wade Miley used to play for the Sox. He never really was that great of a pitcher, but I don't even know what happened. It's the first Reds no-hitter since Homer Bailey in 2013. Um, there's definitely an offense issue in the MLB right now. There's been four no-hitters uh, already, and I think I don't like how I love pitching, but the league, the past 2 years, it was turning into a home run hitting league. Now it's turning into like a home run hitting low average league. I like home runs and all that, but I like good baseball. I'm not an old head. I'm always about let the kids play, but I'm all for that. Some more MLB news. Um, the Mariners recently, we heard 2 days ago, they're calling up their number one prospect in Jared Kelenic. He was amazing over the spring. He's set to have a big year. He was actually acquired in the Robinson Cano trade with Edwin Diaz. So big moves for Mariners. And the Mariners haven't been too bad this season. And lastly, the Oakland A's are now exploring to relocate. Uh, Oakland, their ballpark is just all right. It's not that big of a baseball town. So right now, the top priority is Las Vegas. I'm kind of tired of everyone wanting to move to Las Vegas, but it'll do. All right.
So, Elliot and Daniel. So, what's happening in the NHL with the Bruins right now? I heard they're kind of good right now.
So Bruins just defeated um was it the New York Islanders?
Oh,
And
yeah, and they
yeah,
just lost to the Washington Capitals.
they just lost to the Washington Capitals, but the game against the Islanders was impressive. Taylor Hall had an incredible like between the legs Meg and then like backhanded up into the corner goal. And he's been a great addition for this team. He thinks he fits in Boston perfectly. He wants to be here long term. Just a great overall trade for the Bruins, um, and just a great teammate and a great guy for the locker room. And he looks to be very productive in Boston right now. The team as a
Yeah,
whole, I think, is playing well too. So they just got to keep the momentum. I know the loss against the Capitals was tough, but I think they can rebound nicely.
yeah, they sound like they're going to play against the Capitals in the first round of the playoffs. That's what it's sort of looking like. So that should be a fun series. I'm going to say Bruins in six. Um, Capitals are a really good team, but the Bruins, when they're firing on all cylinders, I think they're a top three team in the league. They just had a lot of injuries this year. That's why they're not the number one team in the league right now.
Yeah, I mean, you look at their schedule and you look at just the teams they've beaten. Like if you've been watching the games, like they fight hard in every game, and sometimes they have off nights, but they've been pretty consistent through the whole year. Like they've had streaks where they've had inconsistency, but they're looking like a very playoff or championship caliber team if they can just string things to like their team together and make plays.
So recently, Jalen Brown is now out for the season in the NBA due to a injury with his hand, which I forget exactly what it was, but
Yeah. Uh,
so
yeah,
how will
Jalen
that
Brown's up for the season.
affect the Celtics, seeing that they're now basically a lock for the play-in tournament?
Um, I'm never gonna be happy for an injury. Obviously it sucks to be injured and I feel bad. But you know what? This season's been so god awful for Celtic standards that, this is just the icing on the cake. Like we deserve this, honestly. Like just put us out of our misery at this point. Like this year has just been a lost cause of. I can't say it's been a mixture of injuries, COVID, poor coaching, poor management, poor playing, poor this, poor that. Team is not built to win. This or that. Too much ISO ball, not enough ball movement, too many threes. It's just been all over the place. So, you know, it will obviously make our team worse. But I think even if we had Jaylen Brown, I just never saw us winning the NBA Finals this year. Because if you saw us play, I don't care who was injured. When we were fully healthy, we still we lost by 20 to the Bulls. I mean, that says enough. So.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's gonna be nearly impossible for them to make a run, but we've seen it before. When they lost Kyrie Irving, Celtics, that is, and they made a run at it. But obviously, this team, that team with Kyrie Irving had much more success in the regular season and looked to be at a much better state than what the current Celtics team is at. So, as a Sixers fan, I still wouldn't want to play the Celtics. I don't care. I don't care who's injured. I think Brad Stevens is a fine coach. I know, but right now everyone's kind of just up on him, and it's been a miserable year. But I think they can still be dangerous and maybe play spoiler for the teams that are looking to make a deep run this year.
Speaking of the NBA and the NBA playoffs, this is Justin from Shams. James Harden, the Nets shooting guard / point guard, is expected to make his return tonight against the Spurs, assuming that his pregame warm-ups go smoothly. This couldn't have come at a better time for the Nets, could it? Because they're right now on a losing streak. Did they actually break that or not? I forget. But they have not been looking that good recently, if I'm being honest.
They're winning the finals.
Are they a finals lock now?
It is a finals lock. If this team does not win the NBA Finals this year, this will be the biggest bust in NBA history of a super team to not win the finals. If you think about it, the Heat with their first year, all three of those guys besides Dwayne Wade, LeBron James didn't really know yet what it took to win the NBA Finals. Chris Bosh didn't really know. The first year, it was really Wade's team, but that they didn't know how to mesh exactly well together. So that's different. And plus, Chris Bosh was not on the same caliber as Kevin Durant. But also you have the Lakers team when they had Steve Nash and Kobe Bryant. Half of those guys were washed up. So this would be the biggest bust in NBA history if they were to lose, because this is the greatest super team in NBA. No, not the greatest, but the most talented super team in NBA history. You have 2 MVPs, 1 borderline superstar. Obviously the rest of their team is so-so, but it doesn't matter.
Don't forget Blake Griffin, the wash superstar.
And apparently Spencer Dinwiddie might be back for the playoffs. If they don't win the NBA Finals, it's the biggest bust. Am I rooting them for them in the NBA Finals? Absolutely not. But at the same time, you have Kevin Durant, the greatest offensive scorer of all time. You have James Harden, one of the best shooting guards of all time. And you have Kyrie Irving, probably
one of the best ball handlers of all time.
Probably the best ball handler ever, I think, or Allen Iverson.
You have an older Blake Griffin who can actually shoot better. You have Joe Harris, who is a three-point sharpshooter. You look at
how their team is built for the modern NBA. You don't have a single guy on that team that besides DeAndre Johnson that can't shoot the 3-ball. They're built for this year, and they're built for the modern what the NBA is turning into.
So recently, earlier today, the NFL's for Week 1 schedule got released, and there's more news coming out. So let's just go over the highlights of it so far. To start off the NFL season, the Bucs will host the Cowboys. This will be Dak's return and Brady raising his 7th Super Bowl banner. The Patriots will host the Bucs in Week 4. This is Brady's return to New England after going to Tampa Bay. Okay, then for Thanksgiving, you got Bears, Lions, Bills, Saints, and Cowboys will host the Raiders. For the 2 London games, you have Jets, Falcons, and Dolphins, Jags. And from an hour ago, the Packers will host the Browns on Christmas Day. Then you also have the Chiefs will host the Packers in Week 9. And the Cardinals are hosting the Colts also on Christmas Day, as with the Browns-Packers game. And let's just go over the Week 1 schedule so far. So, of course, as I said, to start off Week 1, you have Thursday Night Football at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on NBC, which is going to be Cowboys Bucks. Then the 1 o'clock games you have on Fox, Eagles and the Falcons. You have the Niners and the Lions. You have the Seahawks and Carson Wentz's first game in Indianapolis. And of course, you also have Bengals versus the Vikings. Then on CBS, you have Steelers versus Bills, Sam Darnold's revenge game, which is the Jets versus the Panthers. You have Jaguars versus Texans, and Titans versus Cardinals, and Washington football team versus Chargers. Out of these first games that I've just set out, which ones are you most excited for?
For the first week?
Out of the 1 o'clock games and of course Thursday Night Football for Week 1.
Out of the 1 o'clock games, I'm definitely most excited to see the Bills Steelers game. I'm excited to see Najee Harris's debut for the Steelers. I'm also excited to see Josh Allen once again out with Stephon Diggs and all the boys. So that should be a really good game. What the
Sam Darnold's revenge game? Does that sound
yeah, it's not really.
That's
Yeah.
I'm actually looking forward to that one.
I guess I'm looking forward to that one, but it's not that big of. I mean, the 8:21, the NBC one. I mean, it's all right, I guess. The Bucks Cowboys. I'm tired of seeing the Bucks get all this. Not the Bucks, the Cowboys get all this national attention. The only other 1 o'clock game that seems really enticing to me, actually, is super underrated. It's Chargers Washington. Actually, I'm excited to see Herbert versus that nasty defense.
It's going to be exciting to see who starts for the football team as well next year. Is it going to be Fitzpatrick or is it going to be Heineke? Who knows? Well, for the 4:25 slot games, we have Chiefs Browns on CBS and Patriots Dolphins on CBS, and then for the 2 Fox games, you have Packers Saints and you have Giants Broncos. So, out of these 4 games, what are you guys most excited to watch, and why?
Oh, the answer is quite obvious. It's the Chiefs Browns game. There's no way. Nothing. There's no other option. The Chiefs Browns game is going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I was thinking about the Packers Saints, but we'll see if Aaron Rodgers is even on the field, and who knows what we're gonna get from the Saints team. I mean, they got a lot of weapons, but they don't really have a quarterback. So we'll see. But yeah, I definitely agree. I know that Browns Chiefs game should be a very down to this wire game.
So on Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, we have the Bears and Rams on Sunday night. And then for Monday night, Week 1, wrapping it all off, we have the Ravens and the Raiders. What's your takes on these 2 games?
I'm only watching that Bears game. I mean, obviously I'll watch it, but I'd only find that Bears game being intriguing if Fields is playing. I could care less for the Bears if they have freaking Andy Dalton playing. That's just a boring game. And the Monday night game, I don't know what to make of it. I mean, I'll be excited to see Lamar Jackson out again, but I mean the Raiders are just so. And I'm also very surprised there's no 10 o'clock, they do the 7 o'clock game and the 10 o'clock game. I'm surprised they're not doing that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Ravens versus Raiders. I mean, I just think it's not really two similar styles of play, but I think both teams are they're really tough on defense, and they both got They both have great tight ends. You know, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a lot of running the ball and then looking for like those big plays, those big explosive plays. You got Lamar Jackson and Hollywood Brown, of course, and then you got Henry Ruggs, who I think is going to try to have an impact year, because he had a kind of a down, not really an impressive rookie season, but I think that one's kind of an underrated game to watch.
We never talked about Russell Westbrook.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, Russell Westbrook recently broke Oscar Robertson's 40, 50, 30, whatever, how many years it was, their triple-double record with, 182 triple-doubles in his career.
Yeah, first ballot Hall of Famer, baby. Russell Westbrook.
He deserves at this point. Like, people say he's stat padding, except from what he did this season, none of that was stat padding. Unless he got a triple-double, most of the times they would lose the game. So,
Yeah.
Honestly, if this season has proved anything, so Russell Westbrook is not washed at all.
Speaking of, real quick, speaking of first rounders, Tom Brady, you know, he comes to Foxborough, right? Week 4.
Week 4.
And if you look at his stats, he has potentially, he's number 2 in all-time passing yards, right? Behind who? Drew Brees. So he's about 1,100 something behind him. So if it's like almost close to 1,200. So if he can throw about 300 yards
per game,
every game, yeah, leading the week 4, he could potentially break the all-time passing yards in Foxborough. So that's something to watch for sure.
I mean, hey, if he
Could you
does
imagine?
that would be very exciting.
Could you
Definitely
imagine?
looking at the with the possibility of with what's going to be expected with probably the videos for him and Gronk both.
Oh yeah.
Because it's also going to be Gronk's return back to Foxborough.
True, very true.
Speaking of Gronk, did you guys hear about the playground in Boston?
Well,
Yes, I did.
What happened?
He bought a play, like he set like a charity event for like a playground in Boston.
He still has
cool
roots
stuff.
in Boston.
Yeah.
Let's go over the Thanksgiving games right now, real quick though. Bears, Lions, Bills, Saints, and Cowboys, Raiders. What's your guys' takes on these 3 games?
Bears, Lions is just what I said. You know, it's the same every year. I think, like, I'm hoping that by that point Justin Fields is starting, because that would make something interesting to watch. But you know, it's just like I'll be focusing on the food more than the game, I think. But yeah,
Me too.
It's
Bill
horrible.
Saints. What about Bill Saints?
Yeah, Bill Saints should be.
Bill Saints. You mean Bill Steelers?
No, it's the Bills and the Saints.
Play when?
Thanksgiving.
Oh, my bad.
That should be a good game.
And then the final Thanksgiving game is going to be Cowboys and Raiders.
Who's going to start for the Saints this season? Is it Jameis?
Probably Jameis.
Yeah.
Wow.
They didn't draft a quarterback, right?
I mean, Jameis is.
They were thinking about it, but they ultimately didn't.
Yeah,
that will definitely be an interesting game. So let's now look at the 2 London games. So of course, because everything which happened in the world with COVID and everything is starting to die down a little, there's gonna be 2 London games again this season with the Jets and the Falcons and the Dolphins and the Jaguars.
Wow, very enticing games. Nah, but you get to see a bunch of good first rounders play. You get to see, Jets Falcons. You get to see Zach Wilson and Kyle Pitts. So I'll be hyped for that. And you get to see Trevor Lawrence and Jalen Waddle. I'm actually super excited to see Jalen Waddle, J.C. Jackson matched up against Jalen Waddle in that first game with Patriots and Dolphins. I think J.C. Jackson will be on him. Maybe Jonathan Jones. But that's going to be such a fun game to watch. Especially the Pats Dolphins is always a good game. I'm excited to see Tua with Jalen Waddle. I'm excited to see Cam with the revamped offense of Hunter Henry.
So week 1, you're talking about week 1 right now with the Pats Dolphins?
Yeah.
That's everything. I'm excited for that game. I'm excited to see what McDaniels draws up. And I'm excited to see how well the secondary rebounds after not that good year last year. So next year, there's of course going to be 2 games on Christmas Day. You have the Cardinals hosting the Colts, and the Packers who are going to host the Browns on Christmas. What's you guys take on these 2 games?
Well, last time we saw Carson Wentz go against Arizona was not this year when the Eagles played them, if you remember, because that was one of Jalen Hurts' first full games. So the last time Wentz played against the Cardinals, it was the Super Bowl year, I believe, and he had almost like a 400-yard passing game. So I think it'll be interesting to see how he does on Christmas. I think with all the lights on him, and I'm expecting him to have a rebound year, and I think that should be a good game. A lot of talent on both teams.
I do know that the Eagles actually have the easiest schedule record-wise.
Yeah, they do.
Last year, so man, you never know.
What do you think about that game, Daniel? Colts and Cardinals.
Colts and Cardinals.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Carson Wentz, Tyler Murray.
Yeah.
I'm excited because I don't know what to expect with the Colts next season. I know their defense is gonna be there. It's obviously a top 7 defense in the league. But I'm interested to see what Carson Wentz can do because their receiving core and their running back, their receiving core,
and the offensive line. Don't forget the Colts have an amazing offensive line.
Yeah, they have an amazing offensive line.
Looking at they signed Mitchell Schwartz, was it a couple days ago?
It's just that their receiving core is a little bit suspect.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, T.Y. is back.
Yeah, but it's not the same T.Y. we're used to.
They're running. It could very well be. It's just that Phillip Rivers didn't give him as much of a target share as Luck always did.
Yeah, their running back tandem is always going to be there, though. Marlon Mack and Nyheim Hines and Taylor.
Yeah,
that's a scary backfield to go at.
Yeah, 3-headed monster. That's probably one of the best backfields in the league, 3-headed monster-wise.
Then the other game on Christmas is going to be Packers and Browns. What's your guys' take on this? Easy W for the Browns if Rodgers is gone, or
I think we got to talk about this Packers because this is just we haven't seen something like this where the MVP wants out. We've never seen it. We've seen 2 guys retire.
Talking about the NFL schedule release. Here, we have a special guest.
Bradley, what's your thought on Aaron Rodgers winning the MVP and then wanting out of Green Bay a year later?
On Aaron Rodgers winning the MVP, and then what did you say?
And then wanting out a year later.
I mean, I think he has every right to want out. The Packers have sort of thrown away his career. He's top 3 most talented quarterback of all time, and he's won 1 Super Bowl with plenty of opportunity to do so well. They just need to give him the right pieces, and I think people that have said, well, he has the top 5 O-line, and he has a top 5 wide receiver, and his running back's top 10, and why can't he just produce with that? Are being naive. I think yes, he has Devontae Adams, but the rest of the receiving core is non-existent. That O-line has only been around for the last 2 years, and they lost their right tackle, I think.
Beluga.
And I forget his name, but I believe they lost one of the tackles.
Yeah, it was. I think it's Beluga who went to the Chargers.
Yeah. And I mean,
it makes sense why it wants out, though. It does.
So yeah. It just makes total sense. That defense has been atrocious up until. Even last year they were an average defense at best. Granted they're trying to build in the draft, and I think that's what pissed them off. But I think they need to make some moves on defense and build up the defense, and they need some receivers. And I think he would have stayed if they let him have any input whatsoever, even if it was the wrong decision. If Rodgers had input, then he would have stayed.
So if you didn't hear Bradley, he basically said that Aaron Rodgers has the weapons, and they
I'm gonna go take a poo poo. They
haven't been able to capitalize on what they had. there's a lot of people that ridicule them for having all this talent and not being and just winning one Super Bowl, which is kind of ridiculous because a Super Bowl is a Super Bowl, but it's really hard to win. But I think I agree that the Packers have the talent that they need. It's a lot of just making the plays, and that's what makes Aaron Rodgers an MVP. And last year was a very questionable decision when they put more faith in their defense than they did in Aaron Rodgers when they kicked the field goal instead of going for it on 4th and goal or whatever it was. So my question to you guys is, if you're Aaron Rodgers, you just got offered this huge contract extension, means they're putting the fact that they drafted a quarterback in the first round aside, and they're looking at you now, and it's like redemption. Do you take the contract, or has your relationship with them already been spoiled?
Someone in there.
I wouldn't at all. No. Not at all. And before, sorry to interrupt you, but just a quick thing before Fishman answers your question.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more of a NFL schedule leaking. Chiefs will host the Bills Week 5 on Sunday Night Football. So Chiefs-Bills AFC Championship rematch, Week 5 Sunday Night Football then. 3 of the first 4 weeks of the Patriots schedule have been leaked. Miami, Week 1. Saints, Week 3. Tampa, Week 4. All 3 of them are home games.
Ooh, I knew it. Oh, man. Dang, back to Aaron Rodgers, though. If I'm him, I stay with Green Bay, though. Because, really, obviously he's better than most quarterbacks, but where would he go right now? Listen up, say options where he would go.
Raiders.
Okay. There's the Raiders or Washington.
I'll say Broncos.
If you look at those 3 rosters right now, and you look at the Packers roster, he still has a better shot to win the Super Bowl with the Packers roster than all 3 of those. There's just I don't see him. There's no way he would possibly win a Super Bowl with the Raiders. If you look at their receiving core besides Darren Waller, if you look at their defenses, so there's no way he can win one there.
I think
the Broncos.
I think that they have one of the best receiving cores in the league, in my opinion.
They just have Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. That doesn't even matter. Their defense isn't what it used to be. They're always hurt. They don't have a good team. Von Miller's old, so he's not going to win Super Bowl there. And then you have Washington, who obviously has a good defense. But, I mean, they have Terry McLaurin, but that doesn't even matter. Then he is as much as Aaron Rodgers is so good, people have to stop telling him yes. Where would he go that he would have a better shot at winning Super Bowl somewhere else? I'm not saying the Packers are built to win the Super Bowl. I'm just saying they have a better team, a better chance of winning a Super Bowl than all 3 of those.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Some more schedule leaks right now. The Bears Raiders in Las Vegas, Week 5. So Khalil Mack's second game against the Raiders, his former team. Then Week 2, you have Monday Night Football, Lions in Green Bay as well.
Interesting.
I don't know if you guys hear all that.
Oh, I'm gonna wrap this up, bro.
Oh wait, they can't hear it. Wait, can you hear us?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The number 4 recruit in the class of 2021 for basketball just committed to chose University of Milwaukee over Duke, Virginia, and Georgetown. So he's going to be playing for Dad and Horizons League. So, I thought that was kind of interesting.
What?
Yeah. But that was all.
Thanks, brother.
So very interesting news. So yeah, that's about all the draft, the schedule leaks that have come out so far. And a very interesting discussion about the NHL, MLB, and a little bit about Celtics and the Nets. So I'll be very disappointed if the Nets don't make and win the finals this year. But you guys want to add anything?
Yes. J. Cole is playing in an African basketball league.
That's true. He's playing for the Patriots.
For the Rwanda Patriots. Not only J. Cole is dropping an album on Friday, he is playing basketball. So he's gonna make $350K first week from first week album sales. and then drop 40 on Sunday. If anyone wants to get a flight to Rwanda right now and fly across the Atlantic Ocean and get to the gymnasium where J. Cole will be dropping 35 points on a bunch of scrubs.
But are they going to allow fans in the stands in Rwanda?
I think that, especially me, as a big Rwanda Patriots fan, I'm not surprised he would join the Patriots. He's doing it the Patriot way. Actually, the Rwanda Patriots are Robert Kraft owns the team, so maybe they'll play in here. It's gonna be J. Cole. Once he drops 30 a game, NBA scouts are gonna notice.
All right, folks. I think that's about all the time we have.
The Celtics need a bench scoring option.
Okay, I agree with you, Ellie.
J. Cole needs to go to the Celtics.
Hope you guys enjoy it. See you all next week, I guess.